I find it hard to believe that Jesus is condemned to death. He spoke of loving others as you love yourself. His enemies consume others with their grasping at what they call life. I think they fear most God's heart of flesh, a heart that cares about the least, the unnoteworthy, the last in line, the ones who could do nothing to satisfy their needs. They chose to kill this heart of God and stone their hearts against the outcries of the dying souls. In Jesus' words, "And in his life my ears caught truth." His quality of life was gentleness, so, not to complicate the situation of the smoldering wick, the bruised reed, quietly, but they heard and feared his heart of flesh. Today, God's heart of flesh is crucified by stony hearts. When they laid the cross on your back, Jesus, what did your heart do? And what did your blood pressure do? When they laid the cross on your back, it was a physical experience, not a spiritual triumph. When they laid the cross on your back, it was heavy with the weight of wood and nails and fear, active and passive. Jesus, I leave now. The cross upon your back was hard enough to witness. Now you fall. I don't want a stumbling God. I don't want a God who ends up in the dirt. Yet there's something compelling here. I'll walk a little farther. In her image, he looked down, and for a moment the agony that shook his body split open. It was her face that broke the darkness and spoke to him the beauty of his life. How he cradled in her womb on the donkey bounced to Bethlehem, then the cradle of her arms as they took the road to Egypt to safety, of the many ways she loved him and let him go in God. Now she stood with her friends and his, refusing the safety of not meeting, and he loved her. So many memories of goodness lit the space between them. "John," he said, before the agony closed in again, "be to her her son." That hand, Jesus, how big it must have looked to you, a human hand stretched out, lifting your burden. Hand of one unknown to you, a hand in the crowd of mixed intentions. Hand compelled by love or virtue or simply the rule of the current law. But hand interrupting the circle of violence in one small opportunity. For one large moment, hand of God. The sweat-salted face stung his eyes as he tried to see beyond the pain to the path, to the rocky ground and the crowd, friends and enemies and those attracted by the drama of the hour. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Then he saw her stepping forward from the faces, moving in and out of focus. She reached toward him, holding up both hands to keep her balance, stretching upward to reach his face, her eyes hidden by cloth. Cloth to clear the sweat, cloth to bring the touch of comfort, cloth to companion him on his journey. Your mother, Jesus, staying with you, and the woman who reached up to you with a simple piece of cloth. Love given and received. Somehow, it is not the pain and violence that affects me now, but something more important, something more eternal than this moment. I had to be there. It seemed unusually hot and dusty. Maybe it was the pain and the anger I felt around me and inside. I brought my children. There was no one to watch out for them. Everyone was at the crucifixion spectacle, and my children had seen violence from soldiers. With me, at least they could hold my hands and I could comfort them against his pain, for we had grown to love Jesus. I thought, I can keep them safe. But can I keep them safe in a world that would do this to Jesus? I remember what he said. Do not weep for me, but for yourselves and your children. He loved us. It was obvious from the time we met him, when he played with the children, when we heard him listening to us. With all this suffering, he let us know his love for us could not be washed away by pain, though perhaps it was this deep regard he had for us, the women and the children, that brought him to this road. We didn't stay long. If I cannot keep the children safe, at least I could bring them home and comfort their hearts, listen to them as Jesus did. Maybe someday it will be enough. Your weakness grows more evident, Jesus. You fall again. The women of Jerusalem who cried for you wept, reached out. You thought of them, not yourself. I will not abandon a God who stumbles for all the right reasons. We're almost to the hill. Ever since the time of Eden, when they knew their nakedness, clothing has touched the layer between the world and the soul. What more than life itself could be taken from us? They stripped him of his garments. Father, forgive them, all and each. It is done. Into your hands. Peace. The heart of flesh has done its work. Earth and heaven join. Time joins timeless. I joined this walk at its beginning, and now the end has come. Jesus, the dust clings to your body now, because you did not hide from what you knew of God, and you spoke it clearly. I claim your journey as my own. What if Jesus couldn't rise, held in that tomb because he wanted to change the world the way he thought it should have worked? Suppose he'd said to Papa God, "I'll do it this way or not at all," and made himself a tomb space where he could live forever dead. What if he had rolled himself into despair inside the sepulchre, curled around his anger, cold or hot, around a world so unredeemable it chose to kill him? Jesus, your courage! Even in the cold and darkness of a tomb, you still could give your yes to God, your yes to life, your yes to resurrection. May I, who choose to follow you, do no less.